What Taiwanese want in relations with China. Welcome to VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casqueo in Washington. That story just ahead, but first making headlines. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres met with Japanese Emperor Naruhito at the Imperial Palace. Guterres warned that the risk of nuclear confrontation had returned after decades, calling on nuclear states to commit to no first use of the weapons. Ousted former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is expected to seek temporary shelter in Thailand after fleeing to Singapore last month amid an economic crisis. U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Wendy Sherman visited the Solomon Islands to mark the 80th anniversary of World War II's Battle of Guadalcanal. The Solomons signed a security pact with China in April, which many fear could result in a military buildup in the region. Former Philippine President Fidel Ramos was laid to rest in a state funeral. He was 94. Ramos was credited for bringing political stability and economic growth to the country. The foreign ministers of Thailand and Malaysia met in Bangkok to discuss a new bilateral cooperation trade target of $30 billion by 2025. Taiwan held live-fire artillery drills on its southeastern coast early on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Chinese military continued its provocative exercises near Taiwan. China says they demonstrated the ability to blockade or invade the self-ruled island, which Beijing claims is a Chinese province. But Taiwanese residents are not impressed, as VOA's Bill Gallo reports from Taipei.
A display of overwhelming force off the coast of Taiwan. China's message, you are not a sovereign country. But the drills are having another effect, driving Taiwanese public opinion even further against China. In Taipei, most residents are used to dealing with China's threats, though many say they don't appreciate being bullied.
It's not great from China. It doesn't really help boost my feelings for China, if that makes sense.
China wants to control everything, like the people, their lifestyle. But in Taiwan, we have our rights, our authorities to control our own life.
And they say they want to re-educate us after reunification, which sounds awfully familiar.
Just like in Hong Kong, China proposes a one country, two systems policy for Taiwan. But China's crackdown on Hong Kong has erased that distinction.
We can see Hong Kong now is just one China, right? And Chinese swallow their promise. So how we can trust the Beijing?
But those fears aren't keeping Taiwanese from enjoying the present. This frontline island, not far from the Chinese drills, held a dance party over the weekend.
We understand that these drills are a way of communicating Beijing's anger or Beijing's dissatisfaction. And they are, quite frankly, a very violent form of communication. And it only serves to increase the antipathy that Taiwanese people hold towards the government of China.
Here in Taipei, the idea of unifying with China is more unpopular than ever. But most Taiwanese also oppose declaring independence. Polls suggest the vast majority of Taiwanese simply want to keep things the way they are. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Taipei.
Visit our website, voanews.com, for the most up-to-date news. You're watching VOA Asia Weekly. Two important U.S. allies responded in different ways to China's military move surrounding Taiwan. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said the country will drastically strengthen its defense capabilities. Analysts note polls in Japan show increasing support for more defense spending and even the introduction of offensive strike capabilities. The top South Korean and Chinese diplomats met in China to mark 30 years of diplomatic relationship. In separate statements, they called for the development of relations based on successful 3-decade-old commercial ties. Finally, on VOA Asia Weekly, Japanese fashion designer Issey Miyake, known as the Prince of Pleats, has died. Miyake's design office said he died of liver cancer on Friday at age 84. His origami-like pleats transformed polyester into chic, and he built one of Japan's biggest fashion brands. Miyake's clothing was meant to celebrate the human body, regardless of race, build, size, or age. That's all the time we have here on VOA Asia Weekly. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Casquejo. Please be sure to tune in again next week.